Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the Texas Constitution. And I should say that this is just the first of 3 videos looking at how the Texas Constitution works with the U.S. Constitution and this idea of federalism. So let's get into it. So what we really want to know is, what is a constitution? And at its basic core, a constitution is just the documents under which a state or national government operate. And it is just meant to be the broad strokes. And I should say that you don't have to have just one constitution. You can have multiple documents that collectively are considered a constitution, but we're just talking about the basic framework of government. So what does a constitution do? A constitution does a few specific things. First, it distributes and constrains political power, and that relates to the people that get elected to office, the people that are appointed by the elected officials, or the people that are hired through a hiring process, as well as what power citizens have, people that are just residents. So it's all about who has the power to do what. Another aspect of the Constitution, of what a Constitution does, is it sets the basic framework for how the government operates. In general, it's not supposed to deal with all the specific day-to-day aspects of governing. It just provides the broad strokes. And then the actual institutions that are created under that government get to do the day-to-day operating. Some big things that it decides what authority each branch of government has. It also talks about what happens when there is a vacancy. How do elections work? How do we transition power in a peaceful way? So that's basically the idea of what a constitution is supposed to do. And I do apologize. My voice is terrible. I have no voice. I've been trying to record these all day, so I do apologize. Other aspects of a constitution. It outlines, or a good constitution should outline, individual rights. And by individual rights, I mean, what freedoms do you have as an individual related to what the government can do to you or what the government can't do to you? Not necessarily businesses, but more about how the government relates to you. And some of these are rights that you do have, like, for example, Article 1, Section 30 of the Texas Constitution, which says you have the right as a crime victim, if you're the victim of a crime, you have a right to be treated with fairness and with respect and dignity and privacy throughout the criminal justice process. That is a right you have if you are ever a victim of a crime. And then a constitution sometimes will also outline what rights you don't have. So continuing in Article 1, Section 32 of the Texas Constitution, under our Constitution, you don't have the right to get married to someone who is of the same sex as you. So this is that 2005 amendment we added to the Texas Constitution that explicitly said you cannot get married if you're a same-sex couple. And we do come back to this with this idea of federalism, because this was overturned by the federal government. But if you ever read the Constitution, this language is still in there. Another aspect of what a constitution does. I think it's important to remember that a constitution is considered the fundamental law of the land, which means nothing that's in the structure that's created below it is supposed to contradict what's in it. So if you have at the top of the state, you've got the Texas Constitution, and below that you've got the statutes created by the legislature, any kind of bureaucratic rules created by agencies or departments, or any kind of city ordinances or rules created by the TCC Board of Trustees. All of those have to adhere to what's in the overarching state constitution, and our state constitution has to adhere to what's in the overarching U.S. Constitution. So we're looking at this kind of a framework, if you will. So how are the two constitutions different? In a nutshell, the difference between the Texas Constitution and the U.S. Constitution is all about brevity. The U.S. Constitution is only about 7,500 words. We've amended it 27 times, and that's called the Bill of Rights. And it's only our second governing document. People like to think the U.S. Constitution was our first attempt at a national government, when really it was our second, because the first one was the Articles of Confederation, and you could read more about that in U.S. history class, or in the, I guess, federal government class, 2305 federal government. And because the U.S. Constitution is so short, it's considered a flexible document. It's a living constitution. We've adapted the wordings of it to apply to more modern day situations. And it only has 7 articles. The Texas Constitution, in contrast, has over about 90,000 words. As of 2021, when I'm recording this, it has 507 amendments. It is our 7th attempt at a governing document. More on that in a later video. And the Texas Constitution is really meant to be restrictive. The idea is to hold it and stop it, and then stop government from doing too much. Remember, in the first chapter of Texas government, the talk is about limited government and keeping the power with the people. That's why it's so restrictive. And we have 17 articles in our Texas Constitution. So there are some key differences there. All right, that's it for this first part. Next time we'll look at this idea of federalism, which is how the state government relates to the national government. Remember to email me if you have any questions at all. Thanks, and I'll see you in the second video where we will be looking at federalism.